Hey everyone, my name is Amanda and I'm the Fun Size Reader, and today I'm here to finally talk about House of Sky and Breath. I legitimately just finished it. I literally just finished it, and I ran to get all my stuff set up because I needed to talk about this book. I'm like kind of speechless. I finished the book and I was like, I need time to process this and to like make all of the connections in my head that was in this 800-page amazingness. As we all expected, House of Sky and Breath picked up right where House of Earth and Blood left off. Literally right there. I guess technically like a few months had passed, but the characters were all there. Everything was just the world we were already in, with some additional characters and more plotline and storyline, but we dropped right back into Crescent City, right with Hunt and Bryce, right where we loved. For a short, spoiler-free review on this book, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. I loved it. 5 stars, without a doubt. First one I gave 5 stars as well. This one is a solid 5 stars. I truly, honestly think that Crescent City is her best series and probably my favorite fantasy series ever that I've ever read. And I read tons of fantasy. I don't understand how Sarah's brain thinks and puts all of this world together for us. Like, I understand why it takes her 2 years to write these books, and I'm not mad about it. I'm not. I will wait for this work of art. Like Picasso. It did take me a little bit longer to read this book, and I think I know why. I was seeing tons of people just like blowing through it, and I was getting really nervous because I didn't want to stumble on something that wasn't listed as spoilers, or a TikTok that like you watch the whole thing and then at the end it has a spoiler in it. I didn't want that to happen. So I was really trying to stay off social media so I could just focus and read it. But it took me a little bit longer because I think after having reread the first book, I was like, I need to pay attention. I was like, there's so much that happens in these that I need to try to pick up on as much of the breadcrumbs and as much of the information that she's dumping, because on my reread, I was like, oh my God, I didn't catch that. Oh my God, I didn't catch that. Oh my God, I didn't remember that. Oh my God, that means something. And so I was trying to do that in the first round, so I didn't read it as quickly. It took me, I guess, about a week to read the book. And I was happy with the fact that I read it a little bit slower. I think I was able to like really sink my teeth in and enjoy it instead of reading it really quickly for me. And sometimes I skip a lot of important details, or I miss something, or I don't understand an explanation, especially in that last like 50 pages. I was trying to read it last night when I was really tired, super late at night. And I was just like, there's too much that's gonna happen, and this is too important. I need to put it down and read it when I'm not tired. So that's what I did. I was really happy that I kind of took my time and just absorbed it all. I will say with this one, it took me a little bit longer to read, yes, but I also think that there were a lot of different characters that we were following throughout the book. And I think that with the first one, it was easy to just continue reading, blow right through, because it was like main perspectives. But because there were so many different perspectives now, it was easier for me to like find a stopping point. Like as soon as the buildup hit and then it shifted perspectives, and then I had to go into a whole nother scene where I wasn't gonna find out what happened in the last part, it was easier to put it down and walk away and go do what I needed to do. So I think that hindered me just a little bit. It didn't mean that I didn't like it or anything like that. It was easier for me to stop reading it than it was for the last one. Steam rating on this one. This one gets a little spicy, okay? She adds in lots of spice that we were missing from book 1. So I would probably give this, I was debating between a 3 and a 4, but I think because of some, like the descriptiveness of it, I think I'm gonna stick with a 3. It's happens often, but for the entirety of the book, it's not as often as some other books. So I think I'd give this one a solid 3. So like, what is there to say in this video besides talking about all of the spoilers? Okay, so I'm gonna start the spoiler section here, and then I'm gonna do some prediction. I just wanna start by saying, like, this was my face when I finished the book. Like, this was I was stunned. When the first book left me like enthused and satisfied and just like amazed, this book left me speechless. I was at loss for words when I was trying to like talk to my husband. And I will tell you that, like, as I was reading the last chapter of the book, I may have yelled quite a few F-bombs during a Zoom meeting that he was on that I didn't know he was on because I had my headphones in and I couldn't hear anything. And all of a sudden he's looking at me like, so, oops. If you've read the last chapter, you understand. So I was speechless. The second that Cormac showed up and said, "I'm here to meet my bride," I was like, the fuck you are? Like, no, you are not here to meet your bride. What are you talking about? This is not going down. It's not happening. I ship Hunt and Bryce, and I will die on that hill. And obviously throughout the rest of the whole book, like, Sarah ships them with me. They are mates. They are mated. I was so excited to read that, but that mating relationship does bring up quite a few questions. There were some kind of hints that were dropped throughout the book where, like, the Autumn King was really surprised that a fae mated with an angel. Like, Rune also said that, I believe. Like, there was some question. And so I think that brings into question, like, Hunt's parentage. And I don't know which way I fall on that yet. I've talked to some people who feel like he is parented from other fae, which is why their mating bond was so strong. But there was also a part where Bryce was talking to the Prince of Hell. I can't remember how to say his name. It wasn't Adis, it was the other one who was visiting her in her dreams. And he was telling her that Hunt was bred specifically for something, and that's why he can track the demons so much. And I think it kind of goes back to that, like, here was my thought, was that it kind of goes back to that whole like calls to like thing from the first book with the horn, where they were trying to find the horn and like calls to like, and that's why Rune kept coming to Bryce, because she had the horn tattooed in her. I wonder if part of Hunt was like he was descended from the princes or a prince of hell and an angel, and that's why he can track demons so well, because that's part of him. But I understand the like potential fae side too, because she's also fae, and that's why their mating bond was so strong. Crazy, crazy, crazy. I did really, really love the mate conversation that Hunt and Bryce had. I feel like in so many of Sarah's other books, this mating bond is like something that snaps into place. They can't ignore it. It's something they don't have control of. And I do think that that is part of Hunt and Bryce's relationship too, but I feel like it was chosen for them. Like, they decided it together. It was something that they wanted, and they were mated in addition to that desire. And so I don't know, I really loved that, like, in the dark conversation that they had. Like, it was what I was waiting for, and Sarah gave it to us, and it just gave me all the warm fuzzies and feels, and I just loved it so much. So then we have a lot of these things going on with, like, Rune being this backwards agent, and, you know, Mind talking to Agent Daybreak, I think. Day and Night is what I'll just call them. I had a lot of speculations on this one. So my thought ended up being wrong. I at first thought that Agent Day was Celestina, and obviously that comes to pass. We find out that it's not, but that's who my initial thought was. I was like, okay, she's this new archangel put here. She clearly is different than Micah. And I thought that Sarah was leading us down the path of like Ephraim was the one that was kind of pulling her off when they were having these conversations. So I thought that it was Celestina. Obviously, we do find out that it's not. It's the Hind, which is why Rune kind of recognized her scent a little bit, because he was betrothed to her sister, who's Hypaxia. And that was another like, woo, burst of information that they're sisters. I do think that that was really interesting. Once we found out that it wasn't Celestina, I did suspect that it was the Hind. And part of it was because like she let them go when she caught them in the water, like different things. And it made sense to me that she had been working as a double agent for so many years, and that people like didn't get her true feelings, and that she had to do certain things to stay alive. Like we saw that with Hunt too. So I think that there's a lot of people like that. We found out Baxian was that way, that he was really a rebel sympathizer. So like it didn't surprise me that it was the Hind that Rune was speaking to. I do also think that they are mates. I think that Rune and the Hind are mates, and that like change in her scent thing that they kind of hinted at after they hooked up in their minds at the very end of the book, like I do think that they are mated. And that's why Rune had this like, I'm really mad at you, but I'm going to protect you from Pollux kind of thing. I think that will come to light in the next book, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Also, speaking about Baxians, the literal gasp that I released out of my mouth when we found out that he was Danica's mate, my husband was like, what's wrong? Like I literally was like gasp. When he said he was Danica's mate, I was like, no freaking way. How did we hide that one? And like, it made sense why they hid it. And I just, crazy. I was not expecting it at all. I do want to know though, how Danica hid it, because, you know, with the whole like scent thing and you're not able to hide anything from anyone, like obviously she did it somehow. And I think there's more to Baxian and more to his story. In the very beginning, when he was like getting placed, you know, with Hunt and he was going to be his partner and he had to show him the ropes and everything, I was starting to get a soft spot for Baxian. I was like, he's a good guy. And I really, really hope that he doesn't turn on us later in future books, because he hasn't so far. But I was like, oh, he just really wants a friend. Like, what if he was the same as Hunt and he was just doing what he had to do to survive and it hurt him just as much? Like, we don't get his perspective. But so to find out that he's really more involved, oh, just so good. I also let out another gasp when the Prime said that Sabine was not the last Fender heir. Like, what? There's going to be so much more that happens with that, because we feel like just this hope for the wolves was lost with Danica. And I thought we were kind of leading Ethan down the path to challenge Sabine, which still might happen. But the fact that he's like found this Fender heir, where did she come from? What line did she come off of? Was she Sabine's cousin? I mean, I don't even know what to make of that yet. I think there's not enough that we got, not enough breadcrumbs that we got from that one, besides just like the information drop. I do think it's really curious, like how did Danica come about knowing all of this stuff? Like, how did she just start looking into it? I think that's one of the things that I'm having trouble wrapping my head around, is like, what was Danica doing? Like, why did she come into all of this stuff? Why did she start investigating these things? Why did she start looking into the truth? But along those same lines, there are other people who are also looking into the truth. Even though we hate him, there was a line from the Autumn King where he said that he's been looking for it too. And Bryce said, what? And he said, the truth. I think the Autumn King is really on our side. He may be totally messed up, but I think he's on our side. I think he would fight against the Asteri. I think he's been using his little star projections, like the astrologer said, trying to figure out what was going on. And I think he may know more information than we think he knows. I think a lot of the stuff that he does is just hiding. It's concealing his involvement or his investigations or whatever. But I think that's why he's so protective over Bryce now, because she's got this starborn power that's passed on from the beginning generations. And I think he knows more of what the Asteri told Bryce at the end about how her starborn power and her star mark connects her and is a beacon to the planet where they came from. Because that was another bomb that was dropped like in the last 50 pages, was that all of the creatures that are in Midgard came from other planets, came from other places, and the Asteri have just been feeding off of them. Like, what? And then we get into the end. And I knew it was coming, okay? I knew it was coming. There's been rumors that Sarah has been trying to connect all of her series. And damn it if she didn't start it. Like, that last line, you guys, I didn't know what to say. Like, I knew it. As soon as Bryce was like, I'm on a lawn, and I look to my right and there's a river, and then I look and it looks like I'm in a postcard. In my head, I went, greetings from Valaris. Like, I know where she is. I know exactly where she is. And I'm so excited that she's there. My predictions. Obviously, we know she's there. I think there's going to be more of what Jessica is, because she recognized Jessica in Amren. And I think there was an indication that, like, we don't know Jessica by that name. I don't know her by that name from the Underking, right? The Underking says he doesn't know Jessica by that name. I don't think she's Amren. I don't think they're the same people. I think that there were more Fae connected to Amren from her past, and I think Jessica's one of them. I did not pick up on the violet eyes and the dark hair and the dark skin all looking like Rune. So when Bryce looked at Reese and was like, it's my brother, like, that looks like my brother, I went, oh my God. Like, I think there is a whole space-time continuum thing. I think that Rune's side of the family was descended from Feyre and Rhysand. I will say that. I think that that's the case. I think that even though she wanted to transport to hell, I don't think that that's where she was going, because I think she has to open the Northern Rift or the Southern Rift to do, like, to let them in. I think that the transport was back to that star beacon, bringing her to where they came from. So like I said, I do think it's back in time. The other thing that I think, and y'all are gonna freaking make me go back and so I never finished the Throne of Glass series. Okay, you can come at me, whatever. I never finished it. I get stuck on the same book every single time. I have read the whole series now up to a certain point twice, trying to get through it. I've never read it, but now I'm gonna need to finish it, because, and this is coming from someone who hasn't finished it, so if you haven't read the Throne of Glass series, skip this next little segment. my prediction is that when the Asteri told Bryce that they've done this before, she saw all the different planets that they had like conquered or left, or, you know, they fought them off or whatever. I think that the Asteri are the Valg. I think that they're the Valg, and that they were controlling people with these, the collars, right? And they didn't know how else to do it, to like feed off of their power. I think they were the Valg. But that's coming from someone who hasn't finished the series, so I have to finish it now. I think that that might have been a planet that fought back against them. I don't know. The mastery that is Sarah J. Maas. Like, I had somebody in a comment, not on this platform, not on YouTube, left me a comment when I was talking about Sarah J. Maas being an epic fantasy author. And they were like, oh no, she's not. She's not an epic fantasy author. Like, if you think that the books are epic, sure. But she's not an epic fantasy author. I beg to differ. I think she is. I think she's the first female epic fantasy author of our time. I think she's paving the way for tons of fantasy written by women. I think the worlds that she's created and now is integrating, I don't know how you cannot call that epic. Like, I don't. There's so many connections. Like, how much information is woven into this book? How is this not an epic fantasy? The last one too. All of A Court of Thorns and Roses. Did it start out super epic? No, I don't think so. I think going back and rereading the first books, like, it's not, but it gets there. And now with this, like, she is, for sure. For sure, and I will argue that. Some more predictions. As I was reading the lines where Hunt was like, this is the last time I'm holding her hand. This is the last time I'm looking into my mate's face. I said, if this is the last time, I will stop reading these books. Like, I can't handle that. I can't handle it. I love Hunt so much. I love Bryce. Like, I will not be able to handle it. And then we get to the part at the end where Bryce is gone and the Asteri put Hunt's crown back on. And I like almost lost it. But the part that is going to kill me, and this is where my predictions come in, I think they took away Hunt's memories. I think they made him a slave again. They put his crown back on, and I think they took away his memories, and they're just gonna make him a warrior for them. And Bryce is gonna have to fight him and fight to release his memories again. And I will die. I hate when people who are meant to be together can't remember it. Like, it tears out a piece of my heart. And I think that that's coming. There were so many other shocking things that happened in this book that I just want to talk about. Like, I do not have enough video time to do all of this. Like, I may go sit back down and then be like, okay, I need to do a part 2. We'll see. I don't know. There's just too much. There's too much that happens. And I just am in awe. I'm in awe. I want to talk about it all. It's so hard to make this, you guys. It's so hard because there's just, it's all swimming in my head. I didn't even get to the dragon yet. I think she's going to be important. I didn't even talk about Therian yet. I think he's going to continue to be important. Damn, you guys. I want to know what you think. I want to know what you thought. I'm sure there should be a warning, but also, you know, like, don't read comments unless you want things spoiled. Like, this whole video was spoiler. Not the beginning, but most of it. This was a book. This was a book. I will put the link down below. If you haven't bought this book yet, you should. But if you haven't, I will put the link in the description below. But don't forget, you can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at The Fun Sides Reader. See you guys next time.